embryological support for evolution. Embryological support ఇక్కడ కొంత కన్ఫ్యూషన్ ఉంటుంది. embryological support evolution లో we need to be careful here. Careful గా చూడండి. We have two scientists here. ఇద్దరు ఉన్నారు embryological evidences లో మనకి we have two scientists. ఒకరు ఎర్న్స్ట్ హెకెల్. ఓకే, ఎర్న్స్ట్ హెకెల్ and Van Baer. So here it is Ernst Haeckel and Carl Ernst Van Baer. వీళ్ళిద్దరు ఏం చెప్పారు అన్నది ఇంపార్టెంట్. Okay, so Ernst Haeckel, based upon the observation of certain features during embryonic stage common to all vertebrates that are absent in the adult. In a line ఏంటి? Certain features during embryonic stage common to all vertebrates that are absent in the adult. The example is taken for that. The all embryos of all vertebrates, including human, develop a row of vestigial gill slit just behind the head. And either it is the fish embryo or either it is the frog embryo, either the reptilian embryo, pharyngeal gill slits. This is not a new thing for us. That notochord, presence of pharyngeal gill slits, dorsal tubular nerve cord. So these features, in these features, pharyngeal gill slits is must character for all the chordates. During embryonic stages, pharyngeal gill slits are going to be must present character, isn't it? So what that they said, gill slit just behind the head, but it is human develop a row of vestigial gill slits. Not only human, that excepting up to amphibia, reptilian, most of amphibian, reptilian, aves and mammals are having a row of vestigial gill slits only. But it is functional organ only in the fish and some amphibians, not found in any other adult vertebrates. Okay, so presence of vestigial characters, common characters in all the organisms, he said. That we have to add some other line here. Before that, we need to see the Carl Van Baer. He noted that embryos never pass through the adult stages of other animal. Okay, so here we have a confusion that this proposal was disapproved. Which proposal? So that means we have to add one more point for Haeckel. Haeckel said organisms exhibit, disapproved means what is disapproved? For that we have to add one more line for Haeckel. Organisms exhibit their ancestral characters. Organisms exhibit their ancestral character. This is the one more statement for Ernst Haeckel. That particular statement is disapproved on careful study performed by Carl Ernst Van Baer. He noted that embryos never pass through the adult stages of other animal. That means we have to understand that statement passed by Haeckel. Now he is disapproving. So what is the theory of Van Baer then? Van Baer said, noted that embryos never pass through the adult stages of other animal. Means embryos never pass through the adult stages of other animal. His statement, stages of other animal. Then embryos resemble, we need to add this, embryos resemble their ancestral embryonic stages. Embryos resemble their ancestral embryonic stages, not adult. Means try to understand this. Frog resemble not fish. Frog embryo is not resemblance with fish. Frog embryo resemblance it is having with fish embryo. Okay, frog embryo having resemblance with fish embryo, not fish adult. So that is actual statement of the Carl Ernst Van Baer. Here we have some confusion. So that confusion is avoided by adding this line. Organism exhibit their ancestral characters in ancestral adult characters, according to Haeckel. Okay, but Van Baer said organism doesn't resemble their ancestral adult character, they resemble their ancestor embryonic character. That means frog embryo resemble fish embryo, not fish adult. Okay, human embryo resemble fish embryo, frog embryo, reptilian embryo, not a reptile adult, not a amphibian adult. That was Van Baer's statement that was cleared by Van Baer. Okay, so this is the story of Van Baer, and moving on, that we have a chart here. Let us try to understand the chart before we continue. Let us try to understand. So, this particular area shows the common lineage. So, from here we need to learn that Brachiosaurus in the diagram, a reptile, Brachiosaurus. From the Brachiosaurus, we got Tyrannosaurus. This is the lineage. Brachiosaurus to Tyrannosaurus. Then in this lineage, we don't have any Archaeopteryx only present. In this lineage, you need to understand there is a crocodile. From the crocodile, Pteranodon. From the crocodile, Pteranodon. In this lineage, stegosaurs are developed into Triceratops. Stegosaur into Triceratops. Then Brachiosaur, Stegosaur, Archaeopteryx, crocodile, Pteranodon, Tyrannosaur is having a common ancestor, but we didn't find that particular common ancestor till the time their fossil is not available for us. That's why we didn't named anything. There is a family tree is drawn here, but so who is the ancestor for this family? That till that time we didn't find any fossils, but they have some relationships. That's why we made a tree. From this tree, the branches came, but we don't know that who is the ancestral part of this, who is the root for this particular. But in the available area, they may ask a question like crocodilian pteranodon relationship, stegosaur and triceratops, and brachiosaur along with tyrannosaurus. You need to remember these individual relationships, that ST, stegosaur, triceratops, BT, brachiosaur and tyrannosaur, here CP, crocodilus, the crocodilian with pteranodon. So moving on here, the characteristic features. Diagrams also going to be crucial nowadays. The NEET 2025. Now this is 2026 NEET. 2025, they focused only on diagrams. NEET last year. Okay, then moving on, such similarities can be interpreted to understand whether common ancestors were shared or not. For example, whale, bat, cheetah, and human, all mammals share similarities in the pattern of bones and forelimbs. So these forelimbs perform different function in this animal, they have similar anatomical structure. So what is the criteria here? There is a common ancestor, they are saying, and let me write these words: whale, and bat, cheetah, they are present in different places, and human. So, saying that whale, bat, cheetah, and human share similarities in the patterns of bones. The bones, which called humerus, radius ulna, carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges, all are having same bones. So bat is living in the air, so whale in the water, so human on land, cheetah on forest, they have humerus, radius ulna, carpal, metacarpal. Size of the bone may vary, but at least the same bones are present. Okay. So these forelimbs perform different function, like whale for swimming, bat for flying, cheetah for hunting, human for other. So all of them have humerus, radius, ulna, carpal, metacarpal phalanges in their forelimb. Hence, in these animal, same structure developed along different direction due to adaptations of different need. What do you say this kind of evolution? Divergent evolution. Divergent evolution. Anatomy, same. So, anatomically similar, morphologically, okay, leave it morphologically. Function only we have to say anatomically similar. What kind of similarity we are talking about? Humerus, radius, ulna, carpal, metacarpal, pharynges are present, but functionally dissimilar. So, morphologically or anatomically, whatever, anatomically similar, structurally similar, functionally dissimilar. Multiple times asked area, very traditional area we can say to be asked over. You need to remember a correlation with divergent evolution and homology. Divergent evolution with homology. Reason why they live in different places, why they have similar structure, anatomical structure means you need to answer divergent evolution. They might have lived over in one place earlier. Now they moved to the different places. Okay. Next, the other example is taken here, thorns and tendrils of bougainvillea. Thorns of bougainvillea, tendrils of cucurbita is also one of the example. So thorns of bougainvillea, tendrils of cucurbita is also example for homology, divergent evolution. Homology and divergent evolution. Next, the second characteristic, homology is based on divergent evolution, where analogy, wing of butterfly and birds look alike. In what way they look like? Both will fly. Function similar, but they're not anatomically similar structures, though they perform similar function. So, structurally similar, functionally dissimilar. Structurally similar, functionally dissimilar is called homology. Opposite is true for analogy. Structurally dissimilar, functionally similar. Functionally similar. And here the diagram will come. Analogy, convergent evolution. Convergent evolution means a butterfly and a bird living in same place, both fly, but wing of butterfly anatomically different with the wing of a bird. So analogous structures are a result of convergent evolution. Different structures evolving for the same function, hence having similarity. Some more examples are given. Eye of octopus and the mammals are the flippers of penguin. Analogy are the eye of octopus and eye of mammals. Let me complete this. Eye of octopus, eye of mammal. Next, the next example, flipper of penguin. Penguin is a bird, dolphin is mammal. Flipper of penguin, flipper of dolphin. What is common in them? They are anatomically dissimilar, but function is same. Flipper of penguin, dolphin for swimming, but their anatomical structure is going to be different. So one can say that the similar habitat that has resulted in selection of similar adaptive features in different groups of organism, but towards the same function. One more example is given, sweet potato root modification and potato is a stem modification, but is also example for convergent evolution and analogy. Okay. So this is a homology, diagram for homology, humerus, humerus, humerus. These are radius ulna, radius ulna, radius ulna. So structural similarity means exact size and length is not same. They are having anatomical similar means they are having humerus, radius ulna, carpal, metacarpal, phalanges. So in that way you have to think over. So what is this diagram? Homology. Diagram explains homology, divergent evolution. Okay. Moving on. In the same line of argument, ఇక్కడ డీటెయిల్గా ఇచ్చింది ఒకటి paleontological evidences, then after Haeckel and Van Baer embryological evidences, and the third one homology and analogy. We remember one at least, that another will be the opposite, and examples are very important. Multiple times asked question here. The same line of argument, similarities in proteins and genes performing a given function among diverse organisms gives clues to common ancestry. These biochemical similarities point to the same shared ancestry as structural similarities among diverse organism. ఇది biochemical evidence అవుతుందండి. Similarities in protein అంటే that means melanin gives color in any organism. Okay, insulin is conversion of the glucose into glycogen. It's a protein in any organism. So that gives clues to the common ancestry అంటున్నాడు. And already you know that codon is universal. Similar kind of structure, similar kind of function. A protein present in human body, if they present in other animal body, that also do the same function and same activity. That is the actual criteria they want to say. Not much clear information is there. Just we can say the common proteins exhibit biochemical similarities. That's enough. They're not going much detail. Man has bred. The story is over. Every evidences story is over now. The evidences story lo paleontological evidences and embryological evidences by Van Baer and Haeckel. And ఇది మార్ఫలాజికల్ anatomical ఎవిడెన్సెస్ అవుతాయి. No special heading is given, homology and analogy. Homology is divergent evolution, analogy convergent evolution. This part is completed. Now we are going with some other facts here. Man has bred selected plants in animals for agriculture, horticulture, sport or security. Man has domesticated many wild animals and crabs. This intensive breeding program has created breeds that different other breeds. In the case of dogs, you might have seen already, but still are the same group. It argued that if within hundreds of years a man could create new breed, could not nature have done the same over millions of years? Okay, so one after another, one from another, concept explains, and this is the evidence for that. In the millions of years, might have happened in the nature. If a man can do this, means he crossbreed a variety of dog to another variety of dog, that you get new dog, new breed will come. Ledu, that a white rose with a pink rose flower, if they do cross pollination or if they do grafting, so a new breed will come, isn't it? All these activities, what do you call artificial breeding, we can say, come under artificial selection, artificial breeding. Man is creating different kinds of breeds in artificial breed. Why not nature? Man is creating in short period of time. Why don't you believe all this happened in the millions of years done by nature? And these are all the breeds they are saying. Why, how they are created in the millions of years, their needs, their necessities, their adaptations, their place where they live, and the place where they move, they get adapted to different kinds of conditions, but base structures are going to be the same. This is what they want to say. Continuation for homology and analogy. This is the artificial breeding. It will come under artificial breeding. Now moving on to the next paragraph. The story of natural selection. The things to remember as a story. 1850, before industrialization, it was observed that there were more white-winged moths on trees than dark-winged. Participants are two, Biston Betillaria moth, white-winged and dark-winged melanized moth. However, in collection carried out from the same area, but after industrialization. Next story, 1920. This is before industrialization. This is after industrialization. There were more dark wing. Here, white wing more, dark wing less. Before industrialization. White wings less, dark wing more after industrialization. From this paragraph, this is the only thing to be grasped over. Why? Why that we have to go through this paragraph? Explanation put forth for this observation was that predators will spot a moth against a contrasting background. So in 1850, contrasting background available for. 1920, contrasting background available for. That we have to talk about. Let me draw. This is the tree. This is a tree, and Contrasting background, we have to draw light color, I think I need. Only 4 colors available. Okay, adjust. Think that this is the gray color. And here melanized moth I will draw. This is clearly visible and matching color. Moth with matching color. This is the white moth. You have to think over. If I draw white, you can't see. This is the black moth. So what is this coat we drawn here? That coat belongs to the lichens, lichens. Pronunciation is of your choice. Lichens are said to be the best pollution indicator. They are present means no pollution. They are absent means there is a pollution. Okay, so in that way, the before industrialization on the bark of the tree, that lichens are present, they give some whitish gray color appearance, where our white moth is not visible for bird, that's why their number is small. Black moths are clearly visible for the birds, that's why their number is less. Now, do the same, let us do the same for after industrialization. Lichens are gone, and what left over? That dark color, and in this particular dark color you can see white moths clearly visible. White moths are clearly visible, and black moths, you have to excuse me with colors. So I am drawing this with red color and I am asking you to imagine as a black. With the available colors I am doing this feature. Now white moths are very clearly visible. Number of white moths are reduced, black moths are. Lichens gone, no lichens, no lichens is of your pronunciation of your choice. Why? Because after industrial revolution, when pollution is increased, that lichens are gone, the whitish layer, that lichens which formed on the bark, that is gone. The black color of the bark is appeared, and in this black color, let me draw the black. This is the black. Possibility is there. But if I draw a black moth here, you can't see. Bird can't see, even you can't see. Now white moths are very clearly visible. So that's the problem here. White moths are very clearly visible here. Okay. So this is the story. Let me read once a formality. That during post-industrialization period, the tree trunks became dark due to industrial smoke and soot. Under this condition, the white-winged moth did not survive due to predator. Dark-winged or melanized moth survived. Before industrialization set in, thick growth of almost white-colored lichen covered the trees. That is what I want to show here. In that background, the white-winged moth survived, but the dark-winged moth were picked out by predators. Do you know that lichens can be saved as an industrial pollution indicator? Yes, we know that. We said lichens are said to be the best pollution indicator. When pollution is there, they won't be there. They will not grow in areas of that polluted. Hence, the moths that were able to camouflage themselves, who is got the advantage of camouflage before industrialization? White. Who got the advantage of camouflage after industrial evolution? Black. So this understanding is supported by the fact that in areas of where industrialization did not occur, in rural areas, the count of melanic moth was low, and this showed that in a mixed population that can better adapt, survive, and increase in population size. Remember that no variant is completely wiped out. Remember that no variant is completely wiped out. Less in number, but not wiped out. Okay, so that is the story of natural selection. With best example for natural selection. Nature selects, they are saying. When environment changes, that organisms adaptations has to be done, or organism they have existing variation with existing variation. White color is existing variation. Before industrialization advantage, nature selected white. After industrial revolution, nature selected black. That is the story. Okay. Moving on, that we have herbicide, we have pesticides has only resulted in selection of resistant varieties is much lesser in time scale. That is another criteria they started explaining. Herbicide Pesticide. We'll take one example to understand this particular phenomena. Herbicide or pesticide. Let me take a pesticide, DDT. So here there are some insects, some 1,000 insects are there. When I spray DDT on them, that most of the insects are died. Most of the insects are died. Some are survived. So that means some 100 grams of DDT I spread on that insects. These are survived means nature selected them. They have an adaptation for survival. So they only grow in longer, in a period of time, they only grow in number. And if you spray the same 100 grams, they don't die because they are resistant varieties. You have to spray 200 grams of variety. Most of them died. Some are survived. That means they multiply. Reproductive fitness is the fitness according to Darwin. Remember, they are survived reproductive. The survived means they can produce the individuals. So now a new variety developed, 200 grams of DDT, high concentration of DDT also can be tolerated. Okay. The same story you have to go with antibiotics also. People use antibiotics widely. But antibiotic, when you are using for the first time, that out of 1 crore microbes present in your body, 99 lakhs are killed. Imagine some 25 milligrams used over 25 milligrams used over 99 lakh bacteria are died. 1 lakh survive. 1 lakh survived for what? For this dosage, isn't it? 25 milligrams dosage. Then, if 1 lakh are survive, that means they multiply reproductive fitness. They grow in 1 crore. They grow in 1 crore in future. So, will be that same dosage helpful to kill that microbe? We reached this bacteria. If in another person, if these kind of bacteria are reached, will the same dose will be helpful? No. You have to increase the dose. I am increasing 50 mg. Again, out of 1 crore, 1 lakh survive. So they are even tolerable for 1 lakh, 50 mg. So the story will go on, continuously go on, that we can say a antibiotic is having expiry date. The interesting thing here, an antibiotic won't survive in the people for a longer period of time. Why? Because so when you are trying to kill a microbe with an antibiotic, if there are few survived means they are resistant. Nature selected them. So same dosage will not do anything with them. So that is the interesting phenomena. So all these are human created varieties, we can say. A bacteria, antibiotic resistant bacteria you are created means, so you also that creating anthropogenic action, we can say all these actions are human created actions. All are examples of evolution by anthropogenic action. Herbicide, pesticide, earlier said variety of dogs, variety of plants, all that example for anthropogenic action. Why we are explaining this here in the chapter evolution? The same line. If a human being can do in a short period of time, various varieties he is creating, why not nature in the longer period of time? That means they are saying that all the varieties, all the various kinds of species which are present in the nature, they are created by the nature. If you can create, why not nature? This is the thing to explain that they are given as an evidences here. Okay. So moving on with the adaptive radiation, the next topic. During this journey, Darwin went to Galapagos Islands. Adaptive radiation. Adaptive radiation. Basic line I'll give. Adaptive radiation means an organism shift to various places and adapted to respective areas. We can say adaptive radiation. Similar to our divergent evolution. There he observed amazing diversity of creatures of particular interest. Small black birds, later called Darwin finches, amazed him. He realized that there were many varieties of finches. Okay, Galapagos Island is an area with various islands are there, more than 21 islands. So in one island he observed this, in one island he observed this. Okay, all the varieties he conjectured evolved on the island itself. From the original seed-eating feature, many other forms are with altered beaks arose. grain eating, seed eating, fruit eating, bark eating for various purposes. That beaks are separated, not showing in the diagram. Some feather differences are also there, but here we are focusing only on the beaks. Some became insectivorous, some became vegetarian, fruit eating. So this process of evolution of different species in a given geographical area, starting from a point, literally radiating to other areas of geography is called as adaptive radiation. Adaptive radiation means variety of finches. I am drawing the box here. South America, a bird, a base bird from South America went to different Galapagos Islands and adaptive radiation happened. That you need to understand this phenomena like this. Now, Darwin finches represent one of the best example for this phenomenon, as we said now. Another example is Australian marsupials. A number of marsupials, here you can see in the diagram, a number of marsupial, each different from the other, evolved from an ancestral stock. This is the marsupial ancestral stock, but all within Australian island continent only. They develop, and more than that's it over here up to here only. That this reading pattern is also very important in hence organic evolution chapter. So if you don't stop there, you will be confused with parallel evolution. So this is the criteria. Diagram is important here. Wombat, we start bandicoot, koala, marsupial mole, sugar glider, Tasmanian wolf, tiger cat, banded anteater, marsupial rat. All these are example for marsupial radiation. Marsupial. Here, let me explain once. Mammalia, class Mammalia is having three subclasses. Prototheria. We call them as egg-laying mammal. Egg-laying mammal. Prototherians are egg-laying mammal. Metatheria. Metatherians are said to be marsupial mammal. So we are talking about these metatherians now. Eutheria. Eutheria are said to be placental mammals. Eutherians are said to be placental mammal, are true mammals, we can say. Metatherians, gestation period is short, that's why they have to carry a bag. That marsupial bag, we can say, hence we call them as marsupial mammal. So we are talking about these metatherian mammals now. Metatherian mammals. Moving on to the next diagram. Here, first of all, let us understand this. The one more example, here you can see for adaptive radiation. One more example you can see for adaptive radiation. Let me, we have to stop here, avoid the confusion, because the adaptive radiation means you people need to understand that adaptive radiation is a criteria that you people need to understand from one place to the different place. Organism shift from one place to the different place. That's okay. So, the thing you need to understand, as I said to you, wait a minute, I am taking. So small problem came. I'm taking here. Yeah, okay. So let me take black. So as I said to you, metatherian mammal. These are the metatherian mammal and eutherian mammals. Metatherian mammal, eutherian mammal. Eutherian mammal means placental mammal. So placental mammals. Let us try to understand this phenomena here. Let us try to understand. Wait a minute, I am erasing this. Okay, I do one thing. Should I erase, I think, from here? Hmm. So try to understand this criteria. This is the evolution of placental mammal. Placental mammal I am writing. There is a mole, there is an anteater. I am taking from here. In this series I am taking mouse and lemur, flying squirrel, bobcat. So these are all example for adaptive radiation. All these are example for adaptive radiation that you need to understand. Okay, next another adaptive radiation I am showing here, and another adaptive radiation. Where we'll write here. I am writing here for that little thickness required. Hmm. Hmm. Let me take, yeah, this one. Now, this is Australian. These are the placental mammals. These are marsupials. Marsupial, as I said to you, I'll remind you once again, class Mammalia is having three types of organisms. Egg-laying mammal, marsupial mammal, eutherian mammal or placental mammal, we can say. So now the story of marsupial mammal we are talking. Marsupial mole, numbat, marsupial mouse, spotted cuscus, flying phalanger. Here in this story, this is also a kind of adaptive radiation. This is also adaptive radiation. So there is personalized adaptive radiation. Now, a mole from here went to one place to different places, we said. Then a marsupial mole. So this mole came here to eat the ants. Both are anteaters. So that you understand the criteria. Adaptive radiation happened here. And adaptive radiation happened here. So this person from Hyderabad, this person from Vijayawada, origin place Vijayawada, Hyderabad. So they went to the different places. He went to Bangalore, Pune, Delhi, whatever. So this person also went to the Bangalore. So here you can see adaptive radiation. Here and one more adaptive radiation happened. The mole reached to Bangalore and our marsupial mole also reached to Bangalore. This phenomena is called parallel evolution. So adaptive radiation in one group and adaptive radiation in another group. These two groups reach to one place, we can say, so that we can say parallel evolution. For this, the interesting thing here, when you go to the roots of this particular, this is mammal. Mammal shown an adaptive radiation like this. Placental mammal and marsupial mammal. So, placental mammal, marsupial mammal, separated from mammalia. This is one of the adaptive radiation. And again, placental mammal shown adaptive radiation, they reach to one place. Okay. So, ancestral group A and B in one place. So, A went to one place, B went to another place. We can say adaptive radiation. From the a small a reached to a new place. From B, a small b reached to another place. This is called parallel evolution. This is called parallel evolution. This interesting phenomena here is given. They said how to follow the text here. Convergent evolution. They said it as convergent evolution. They said it as convergent evolution. Let me read that line. When more than one adaptation happened, when more than one adaptive radiation have occurred in isolated geographical area, when more than one adaptive radiation appeared to have occurred in isolated geographical area, different habitats event, one can call this as actually we should say it as parallel evolution, but NCERT is saying it as convergent, I am saying it as convergent now. That actual name is an adaptive radiation happened, animal went to different places. Animal went to different places, again shown adaptive radiation, some of them reached to one place. We can say that particular feature as convergent evolution. Line is one, but took this much time. This is the story of this particular. And now moving on. Biological evolution. Evolution by natural selection, in a true sense, would have started when cellular forms of life with differences in metabolic capability originated on Earth. Okay, nothing to explain there. The essence of Darwinian theory about evolution is natural selection. Remember this statement. When it come as a statement, that is you may confuse. The essence of Darwinian theory about evolution is natural selection. The rate of appearance of new forms is linked to the life cycle or the lifespan. The rate of appearance of new form is linked to the life cycle or lifespan. Microbe that divide. Example, they started. For this line, example. Microbe that divide fast have the ability to multiply and become millions of individuals within hour. Before we continue, let me say what they want to say. A microbe will multiply in a short period of time into thousands, lakhs, and crores. So, a human being multiplication definitely, if it all happened in 1 hour, some 10 microbe reach to 1 lakh, some 10 human beings reaching to 1 lakh will take a lot of time, isn't it or not? That is, they want to say. Microbe, they divide fast, have the ability to multiply and become millions of individuals within hours. A colony of bacteria growing in a given medium has built-in variation in terms of ability to utilize a feed component. A change in the medium composition would bring out only that part of the population that can survive under the new condition. In due course of time, this variant population outgrows the other and appear as a new species. This would happen within days. For the same thing to happen in a fish or fowl or a human would take millions of years. First of all, this is called Lederberg replica method. This method is said to be Lederberg replica method. First of all, let us try to understand what they want to say in the during a bacterial evolution process. Lederberg replica method. So in a culture plate, we have some bacteria. So I am taking these bacteria into the another culture plate, which is having a streptomycin solution. I am shifting this bacteria into the streptomycin solution. And it means population A is shifted to the new place. A colony of bacteria saying growing in a given medium has a built-in variation. This is the flavor of Darwin. Remember, built-in variation. In terms of ability to utilize a feed component, a change in the medium composition. I changed the medium composition here. I shifted to the streptomycin solution. So out of 1,000 I shifted, some 100 are survived. So that 100 word will come here for this built-in variation. According to Darwin, they don't develop variation. They have a variation. They have a variation, and that variation is helpful for the organism to survive. These are the lines of Darwin. Thou art found in the nature. Thou art found in the nature, art found wanting. Means they are saying that organisms are having such an art too, one art at least. Here, these organisms are having an art of surviving streptomycin. Art found wanting. Means the situation should come. Now the situation came, and when I shifted a bacteria from culture plate A, bacteria into the new culture plate, streptomycin solution, 900 died, 100 survived. Okay. So these 100 will multiply in a short period of time if I shift them to the erythromycin solution. So from here to here, an extra variation happened in the organism, isn't it? Now I am shifting to the erythromycin solution. Again, some are survived. Okay. So 100 became after multiplication, 900 again killed, 100 are survived. Now they have two variations, streptomycin solution tolerance, erythromycin solution tolerance. You can do the experiment as much as when you shift these kind of microbes into the different culture media, they start developing new variation, new variation, new variation. Lastly, whatever that variation we got, finally, variation plus variation plus variation, they may not resemble the first bacteria which we are seeing. Streptomycin, tolerance, erythromycin, gentamicin, tetracycline. Like this, so many variations are happened that may not match with the mother. Now, accumulation of variations lead to the formation of new species. We call the process as speciation. That means in a short period of time, you can create a new species of bacteria, which our China people are doing these kind of new varieties for the welfare to kill. According to them, killing is welfare. So these people are creating various varieties in a lab, their laboratory. In a short period of time, it is happening, isn't it or not? In a short period of time, it is happening. Why? How it is happening? In what way? How they are doing? That is what we want to say here. A bacteria, creating a new variety of bacteria will happen in short year, but if same thing to happen in a fish or fowl or a human, it take millions of years, as lifespan of these animals are in years. Okay, so by taking bacteria as an example, you want to make you to understand that evolutionary patterns in the nature. Here we say that fitness B is better than that of A, isn't it or not? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H we created. So nature selects for fitness. Nature selects for fitness. One must remember that so-called fitness is based on the characters which are inherited. So hence there must be a genetic basis of getting selected and to evolve. Another way of saying that the same thing is that some organisms are better adapted to the survive in otherwise in hostile environment. Adaptive ability is inherited. You can't say this kind of these kind of words you can't apply to the Darwin completely. Darwin believed that they already have built-in variation. So these heritage, inheritance patterns and all these things are little beyond the Darwin, because Darwin don't have an idea of genetics. He don't have an idea on genes. Just he said that variations will happen in that way. They have the built-in variation. They have built-in variation, and that variation organisms are selected by nature. They only continue the life. That is Darwin's opinion, and that is called adaptive ability is inherited. It has genetic basis. Fitness is the end result of the ability to adapt and get selected by the nature. We can't say this is a complete flavor of the Darwin. Darwin's flavor is inbuilt variation. You remember this word, inbuilt variation. Okay, and the very important question we can expect from the Darwin is branching descent and natural selection. Branching descent and natural selection are the two key concepts of Darwinian theory. Branching descent and natural selection. Very important lines. These are branching descent and natural selection are the key concepts of Darwinian theory. So this may come. Branching descent means an organism developed into new organisms. They developed into new organisms. This is called branching descent. So this is called divergent evolution, isn't it? So that in them, some they may come together, that you called in the earlier story, convergent evolution. Or parallel evolution, we can say, in the previous story. A mammal developed into placental mammal, marsupial mammal. They again shown the divergent evolution. Then they reached one place that we can say convergent evolution. This is the story we learn. All this is nothing but branching descent, we can say. Branching descent. Natural selection, as I said now, in case of bacteria, in case of DDT. Even before Darwin, a French naturalist Lamarck had said that evolution of life forms had occurred but driven by use and disuse. Lamarck theory of use and disuse happened before Darwin. Lamarck use and disuse principle. For use, he is taken neck of giraffe. He said that to catch the twigs, to catch the leaves of higher, that neck of giraffe, giraffe tried to extend her neck and neck extension happened. Disuse snake limbs, we can say, forelimbs and hind limbs of the snake. They didn't use these particular limbs, forelimbs and hind limbs. Slowly they start reduce in size. He used a word called acquired character. Acquired. What is the meaning of acquired? End. End character. Means extension of the neck by usage, reduce in the size of the limb by not using is an acquired character, and Lamarck said acquired character inherit to the next generation. That is the story of Lamarck. Now let's read in the text. He gave the examples of giraffe, who in an attempt to forage leaves and tall trees had to adapt by elongation of their necks. As they passed on this acquired character of elongate neck to succeeding generation, giraffe slowly over the years came to acquire a long neck. Nobody believes this conjecture anymore. Weismann came, disapproved the theory. But Weismann theory is not there in our text here. But this is theory. This theory is not approved because even Lamarck don't know about the genes and genetics. These are all pre-Mendelian period people. Is evolution a process or the result of a process? Is evolution is a process or the result of a process? The world we see, inanimate and animate, non-living and living, is only the success stories of evolution. When we describe the story of this world, we describe evolution as a process. Okay, first they ask the question, when we describe the story of this world, we describe evolution is a process. On the other hand, when we describe the story of life on earth, we treat evolution as a consequence of a process called natural selection. Most confusing paragraph, isn't it? Evolution is a process. When he is saying evolution is a process, when describe the story of evolution as a process, when we describe the story of this world, we describe the evolution as a process. Okay, when we describe the story of life on earth, we treat evolution as a consequence of a process, result of a process. Means if you see in geographical point of view, earth changes, animal changes. Earth changes, animal changes. So that is called result of a process. But if you see only organism wise, that is evolution is a, that we observe this world, only world, evolution as a process. When we observe the nature, evolution is a consequence of a process. That means changes in the nature, changes in the organism. We're still not very clear whether to regard evolution and natural selection as processes or end result of unknown processes. So that is the third factor they are bringing in. Third factor. Now, Thomas Malthus, Malthusian population theory, I'll remind you once, then after we go to the text. Malthus said, population increases geometrically, food sources increases arithmetically. What is geometric increase of population? 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. This is geometrical increase. Food sources increases arithmetically, like this, like this. Okay, so population increases geometrically, but food sources increases arithmetically. This is the Thomas Malthusian population theory. Malthus and population influenced the Darwin. This theory influenced the Darwin. How? Let us see. Natural selection is based on certain observations which are factual. For example, natural resources are limited. Populations are stable in size, except for seasonal fluctuation. Members of a population vary in characteristics. In fact, no individuals are alike. Even though they look superficially similar, most of the variations are inherited. The fact that theoretically population size will grow exponentially if everybody reproduced maximally, this word came from Malthus. Darwin, he proposed a theory of overproduction. That theory now came here. Theoretically, population size will grow exponentially if everybody reproduced maximally. This fact can be seen in a growing bacterial population, and the fact that population size in really are limited means every organism can produce individually in large number, like Malthusian population, geometrical growth. But that is actually true only for bacteria. Can produce every organism, but actually it is true for only bacteria. Okay, why? Why in the remaining animals, what is happening? There is a constancy in the population. There is a constancy in the population. Means there had been a competition for resources. Why constancy? You see here 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 8, 4, 16, 5. That's 32. 64 by 8. Now you need to understand the phenomena that available people are 64, food is available only for 8. So how many of them will survive? Though 64 are produced, only 8 will survive. This is what we say constancy in the population. Okay, only some survived, grew at the cost of other that could not flourish. The novelty and brilliant insight of Darwin was this. He asserted that variation. Now, here I have to add some here. Why few? How few survived? That we need to understand due to struggle for existence. Same species fight each other, intraspecific struggle. Different species fight each other, interspecific struggle. And the struggle with environment, natural calamities will come, earthquakes will come, floods will come. The various other factors will make our 64 into 8. So that's 64 into 8. Which 8 will survive here? Which 8 will survive? The 8 which have special variations. That 8 will have very special variations only survive. So that now let me continue. The novelty and brilliant insight of Darwin was this. He asserted that variation which are heritable, which make resource utilization better for few. A few is 8 that I am talking. Adapted to. These are adapted to the habitat. They survived in all struggles. Okay, they have variation. This variation is going to be inherited to the next generation. So next generation will be the best one, isn't it? Then only those to reproduce leave more progeny. These 8 only can reproduce. That is called Darwin's reproductive fitness. Hence, for a period of time, over many generations, survivors will leave more progeny. There would be a change in population characteristic. Hence, new forms appear. Here, I'll explain this phenomena like this. Out of 64, how many are survived? 8. They again multiply. 8, 8, 8. They again multiply. They became 64. Best 8 now became 64. In that, again, 8 only has to survive. Then they multiplied reproductive fitness 64. Among these 8 only. You see here, from here onwards, for survival, they should have some special variation. Special variation. Special variation. Variation, variation, variation. That the accumulation of the variation lead to the formation of new species. A convincing way of explaining evolution that a monkey in the millions of years back, how now it became a human. Accumulation of the variation. But only problem with the Darwin here, Darwin don't know about the genes. He said variations will inherit to the next generation, but how? He don't know. Inheritance, he said. But how does that inheritance is happen? He don't know. 1900, after 1900, Hugo Debris, Karel Karens, Eric Van Schermark, these people rediscovered the Mendel, and after that, gene came into the limelight, DNA, Watson Crick. All these investigations made us to understand the process of evolution much clear. After Darwin, Darwin is explained that evolutionary process already. Just we are adding the flavor of genes and knowledge of inheritance to the Darwin theories. That is called modern synthetic theory of evolution. From here onwards, 6.6 explains Darwin plus genetics. We call it as modern synthetic theory of evolution. Modern synthetic theory of evolution. Here, exact reason for the extension of the neck of giraffe will come. Okay, moving on with the same story, mechanism of evolution. What is the origin of this variation? How does speciation occur? Formation of new species. How does it occur? I said now. Even though Mendel had talked of inheritable factors, influencing phenotype. Darwin either ignored, Darwin don't know, or Darwin ignored this particular observation, kept silent. Darwin and Mendel is a parallel people here. In the same decade where Darwin is proposing that origin of evolution, in the same time that our Gregor Mendel is also proposed his principles of inheritance and variation, but Darwin ignored there. In the first decade of 20th century, Hugo de Vries, based on his work, this is another work of de Vries. So first of all, let me submit the Darwin's work now. Darwin said variation, 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 variation in a long period of time leads to the speciation. Okay, now let's talk about de Vries. The story of de Vries. Hugo de Vries, based on his work Evening Primrose, there is a plant called Evening Primrose, Enothera lamarckiana, the scientific name, brought forth idea of mutation. Large difference arising suddenly in a population, he believed that it is mutation which causes evolution and not the minor variation. Minor variation explained by whom? Darwin. Darwin said evolution of new species, speciation done by minor variation in a long period of time. But Hugo de Vries, mutations are random, directionless, while Darwinian mutations are small and direction. These are small and directional. First of all, let me write Darwin. Then after we go with that mutations of de Vries. De Vries believed that mutation caused speciation, hence it's called saltation. Actually, this word is used by Darwin. He criticized de Vries as a saltation. Saltation means jumping. Means this is the Enothera lamarckiana plant. Now it is jumped into Enothera gigas in the next immediate generation. Enothera nanella, Enothera levifolia with smooth leaves. Likewise, in the next generation, that mother plant Enothera lamarckiana form a new species gigas, Enothera gigas, Enothera nanella, a dwarf plant. According to Darwin, this 5 centimeter has to become 25 centimeter means 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 happened. In a long period of time, minor variation, small directional. But an immediate jump, this is called saltation. This is said to be saltation. Okay, single step large mutation. So, okay, that it is possible actually, it is possible. Sir, what is correct then process of speciation? In the process of speciation, what is correct speciation process? Darwin's theory of evolution, speciation. Now, the conclusion we are giving here, speciation means formation of new species. Which one is true? Darwin's minor heritable variation which take long period of time, or de Vries immediate in the next generation a saltation happened and with a short period of time a new species formed. So what is your opinion? Which one is correct? Formation of new species. Which process is correct? Both are correct. So how do we understand, sir? How does that evolution happen? In the coming time, we are going to get human evolution, Dryopithecus, Ramapithecus, Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, and finally Homo sapiens, we are saying, isn't it? So it took a longer period of time, various intermediate stages are formed that you can say it's dark. Then in Drosophila, a red-eyed Drosophila developed into white-eyed Drosophila. So according to Darwin, a red eye becoming white eye means red eye, dark red to the red to the light red to the lightest red, finally that red shade gone after so many washings white. So if it all happened, you can say Darwin. But now what happened? A red-eyed Drosophila flock, we got a offspring with white eye. So that will be definitely Hugo de Vries method of speciation. Means just both are fact. Hugo de Vries short period, Darwin long period. Hugo de Vries single large mutation, Darwin minor variation. Hugo de Vries random directionless, Darwin small directional, both might be the reason for the formation of new species. Both might be the reason. Okay, so how we identify, sir? If you have intermediate stages, that is Darwinian process of evolution. If we don't have any intermediate stages, that we can understand that is the mutation might have happened over immediately in the next generation. A new species is formed. So this is the story of Darwin. In the next coming, we are going to learn the same story in the form of Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium and a brief account of evolution. Actually, this is going to be a bigger place nowadays. Recently, in 2026, also the same time that we got this question only, that millions of years they asked over. Millions of years question they asked over. Okay, then